good evening, and welcome to this regular City Commission meeting of October 28th. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. We'll begin with an approval of the agenda, which I have no changes or comments on, as it has been published. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve the agenda from Commissioner Hersom, a second from Commissioner Martin. Does the dais have any questions, comments, or changes to the agenda as it has been published? Questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to welcome Pastor Armin Lowry. He's Mount Zura's brand new pastor. We welcome you to the city of Newberry. We hope to spend a lot of time with you in the weeks and months and years to come. If you would please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to follow. Welcome, Pastor Lowry.
Thank you so much. Would you all bow your heads? Father, as we come on this 28th day of October 2019, we come before your presence humbly, acknowledging that, Lord, we cannot do anything without you. We cannot govern without you. We cannot administrate without you. In fact, Lord, we are nothing because we can't live without you. You are the very breath that we breathe. You are the air that we intake and exhale. Now, Father, as I stand here in the presence of this company, in the city of Newberry, I declare through this prayer, Lord, a decree that this city will not be the same. I pray over the leaders that are here tonight that you will give them wisdom, that you will give them understanding, that you will give them, Lord, compassion, and Lord, let there be unity. We may not always agree, but Lord, let your spirit cause us to be unified, that we may make the right decisions that impact this city and this side of Alachua County. I pray for every commissioner and the mayor, and I pray, Lord God, for this city and its community. And I ask your blessings upon it. Prosper us, bless us, heal us. Lord, bring us together as a community, that we might be one as Christ is one with God. This we ask in Jesus' name, and everybody said amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Lowry. I think it's safe to say that Mount Zura has found them a very fine pastor.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a wonderful night. All right. We have some presentations here tonight. Our first one is our very own Newberry's very own, Miss Tricia Roy, who is a candidate for Alachua County Board of County Commissioners, District 3. Welcome, Miss Tricia.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much, Mayor Marlowe, for the welcome, and I'm happy to be here. Is anybody going to introduce me, or should I just jump in?
Jump right in. Do you have a presentation or anything like that?
I
up
do
there?
not have a
No?
presentation.
Okay.
I wasn't
Jump
told
right
to.
in.
Okay. I have given all of you a little bit of information about my website and who I am. Some of you may or may not know, I own a business in Newberry, and I live in Newberry. I've been here for about 4 years, and I'm very excited about the fact that this community has embraced me, and I've really enjoyed and flourished in Newberry. The kind of business I do is not very local based, only in essence it is. I am an international broker, which means I work with real estate professionals across the world. That being said, I'm also a Newberry resident. I volunteer for the county, for Alachua County. I volunteer on code enforcement. I volunteer on economic development. And I've been giving away, or rather volunteering, about 40% of my time over the past 3-4 years, probably in preparation for this run for the county commission seat. I do consider my community, my county, my country very important to me, and that is why I've been preparing for it. In 2015, the Business Community Coalition of City of Gainesville ran a program called the Public Leadership Institute, through which I learned about how to run for public office. And there was an ask at the end of it that would you consider running? And when I was asked what I would be considering running for, I always said local, because I didn't see an impact for myself that I would make beyond local. Even though I'm a global person, I felt my impact had to be local. I had to start locally. And this is something that has been on the back of my mind. And to this intent, I have gotten to know what the business of the county is, what our community is all about, the issues that are facing our community, how we can rise above it, and how we can move forward. For this purpose, I've taken the last 4 years to kind of gear myself into being ready to run for something like the county commission. I serve as our area's SCORE vice chair. To those of you who have not heard of SCORE, I have made a presentation about SCORE before. SCORE is a small business mentoring organization, and we provide free mentoring for small businesses across the United States of America. We have 300 chapters across the country, and we are powered by more than 11,000 volunteers. So we provide free mentoring, and we teach workshops. The workshops are no longer free because we've just been getting better attendance, because since we made it not free, somehow free workshops were just not getting good attendance. So, but we do different kinds of workshops on very relevant topics like how to begin and end your business, crowdfunding, taxes. I just had yesterday John Powers offer to do a workshop with us in January about taxing, or for business tax and taxing on intangible property. So we do a lot of partnerships within the community as far as part of SCORE. I'll talk to you a little bit about my platform, what is my focus, beyond the fact that I see my county as an entire community. I don't see it, even though I'm running as one party platform. That is my registration. I ask you not to color me in one color or the other, but just to see me as a person who is very engaged in the community and the county. My 3 focus points are sustainable development, because I believe development, I'm a proponent of small business. I'm a champion of small business. And with that in place, I believe that small business growth can happen, and it does not have to happen at the cost of the environment. I have a master's degree in ecology, and I also have a master's degree in management, which has given me the insight to understand that business growth can happen. I travel all over the world, and I see business growth happening in the most unlikeliest of places. When there is a will, people can come together to create business and save the environment and create business against all odds. If Dubai can create Miami in the middle of the desert, I mean, we just came back from a 330 realtor trade mission in Dubai, and they dare to call Dubai Green Dubai. And they are creating grass with a network of interlaced pipes. I mean, they have no water, but they are able to have the vision to create Miami and Dubai. They are creating artificial waterways. So I believe that if we all work towards it, together towards it, we can make business happen. We can make growth happen. And we can invite the world to see the resources that we have. I believe Alachua County is very resource heavy. We have the University of Florida, and we have what is abundantly in requirement for any kind of economic development to happen, that is real estate. We have a large amount of very viable, usable real estate. With those 2 very important components, there's no reason for our area not to grow, and not grow at the expense of environment. I mean, being an ecologist, I understand the need for balance, the need for sustainability, and that is the call for even the United Nations. They call for sustainability, and sustainable development is one of my focus points. The second one is education, and this is something of the mother in me, because I believe that education is we educate our children very well. I mean, we have a very good school system. Alachua County school systems are fantastic. But I don't see our schools children having very rounded education. And I don't want to get into the school board's business, but as a mother, I see my children do not learn to play. I believe I see them very swamped by academics all the time. When I grew up in India, and I simply make the model of what I grew up in, we grew up in a school system where we had school sports. And for 3-4 months of the year, that was what kind of swamped us. We were more concerned about that than our school grades. So the whole school came together and had intramural sports, and we competed, and we learned about teamwork, we learned about losing, we learned about accountability, and we learned to be better human beings than just learning to study and get a grade in exams. I believe that is very easily added to our school curriculums, and it's not going to be very expensive to add sports. And I believe balanced education, a well-rounded education, will teach our children to be better adults when they leave school. That is just my take because I'm a mother. But again, I don't want to be, stepping on anybody's toes, but that's my viewpoint. And the third one is kind of very intuitive to who I am. I was born in India, in the city of Calcutta, which was Mother Teresa's world headquarters. I'm very fortunate. I've been very blessed. I have worked with her organization. I have volunteered with at her Missionaries of Charity, or the Nirmala Shishu Bhavan, which her orphanage was called, in the city of Calcutta. I have sat at her feet, and I've been blessed by her. But I wish I could say that it was magical growing up or volunteering in her organization. I cannot, because she was very humble, and so she never was special when we were growing up. She was just part of our city. It was not until I moved to the United States, I went to graduate school for the second time, for my second master's degree. I came to the United States after she passed away. That is when I came to know what a humongous public, world figure she was. With that as a background, of course, and as much as I travel, as much as I see the world, and as much as I see our community as a melting pot, I think our community needs to celebrate diversity because we are stronger for it, and celebrate diversity not in a very superficial way, but more getting into understanding the different cultures and how understanding different cultures enriches us. And we don't lose any of our own if we understand other cultures and imbibe the ways of other cultures. And that's perhaps the other thing I would like to invite my community and my county to do more of. Those are my platforms, and I'm open to any questions you may have.
Before we ask any questions, do you have a Facebook or a website or anything like that? How do people, potential voters, get in touch with you?
So both, I have both. If you look up on Facebook, Trisha for Alachua County Commission, I'm fairly easily findable. My personal page and my business, my county commission page are very open to review. And my website is trishaforalachua.com. And that on that website, I kind of talk a little bit about my focus points and what the platforms I'm running about, and those are good ways to get in touch with me.
Okay. Does the commission have any questions for Ms. Tricia Roy, candidate for District 3 County Commission? Commissioner Herson.
I asked you this, but just so the audience can hear, which seat are you running for?
I'm running for County Commission District 3.
Who currently has that seat?
Robert Hutchinson.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the dais? Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming out tonight, telling us a little about yourself and your platform, and we wish you all the best as you go on this huge journey that you've embarked on. A county-wide campaign is a massive undertaking, and we certainly encourage any Newberry resident who's willing to do that to go out there and have good luck.
Thank you very much. I feel I already have an army behind me because Newberry, I know, is always behind me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out tonight. All right, that moves us to our Finance and Administration Annual Update. Mr. Dallas, come on down. I'm sure I speak on behalf of the commission when I say the beard is looking better every week. Yes.
You don't have to lie to me, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, this is part of the ongoing departmental updates that the commission had asked for. So tonight is Finance and Administration. Your Finance and Administration Department is made up of 7.5 full-time equivalent employees, generally grouped into 3 different areas. We have Finance and Accounting, we have your Billing and Customer Service area, and then we have your Human Resources area. In Human Resources, we do all the fun things you typically think of in human resources. We hire your employees, we administer benefit packages, we do workers' comp, we administer your liability, workers' comp insurance policies, we file a lot of reports with state and federal government. We assist departments in following the personnel policy that the commission adopted. And then we help different departments in their employee events and their recognition. And we have an annual budget of about $125,000. In Finance and Accounting, my first caveat is that is sparkling apple juice in those cups there on the bottom. Celebrating the end of fiscal year 2019. In Finance and Accounting, we provide financial assistance to the City Commission, the City Manager, and everybody else who wants it. We prepare your annual financial statements and work with your auditors to prepare the audit every year. We administer and prepare your budget with Commission's input. We prepare your budget amendments and then oversee compliance with the budget as well as compliance to the Truth and Millage Law, which is a state statute regarding how we adopt our budget. We also collect all your money and pay all your bills. Last year we paid 6,900 invoices for about $12 million. We're also the reason that people come to work because we process the payroll. So last year we processed 26 payrolls for 145,000 hours of work. We manage your debt, and then we also manage your purchasing policies that have been adopted. Last year we issued 1,000 purchase orders, and then we also issued 13 competitively bid RFPs or RFBs. And the Finance and Accounting budget is just shy of $300,000. Customer service and billing. We provide customer service for all of the city, primarily for utility services, but we do answer all sorts of questions. Well, we've helped customers get lost turtles back. We tell them that trick-or-treating is not set by the City Commission and will be held on Halloween. We answer a lot of phone calls. Last year, we had 16,000 phone calls in our customer service department. We have the fun task of billing all of your customers every month, which I'm sure everybody really enjoys. We open your new accounts. In fact, we opened 364 new utility accounts last year. We also provide 24-hour, 365-day-a-year call center services. So you can call the City of Newberry at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday and pay your utility bill. We also take the education route on conservation. We try and help customers understand how they can lower their bill, how they can manage their bills. We provide free leak detection kits, free home energy audits, online energy audits, any tools we really can help a customer to lower their bill. And our budget's about $260,000. And then administrative services is kind of the catch-all for all the other stuff we do. So we also oversee your information technology systems, primarily covered through a contract with an outside vendor. We currently have 6 servers, 77 workstations. We also manage your website, as well as public information, social media. We currently have a Facebook and Instagram, a Twitter, a Nextdoor, YouTube, a Tumblr, pretty much anything you can think of, we have it. We do not have a TikTok. We can get it. We have a Snapchat, but I think Snapchat's dead.
Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah. No
That's a goal for
TikTok.
next year,
Yeah.
by which TikTok will be dead.
How many followers do we have on Twitter?
Like 130 or something.
Oh,
It's
man,
not.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. We actually have, I think, close to 400 Instagram followers, which I'm pretty impressed with.
Wow.
And then we're over 3,000 on Facebook. We also administer contracts. This year, grant administration moved into the finance department, so we administer your grants, and then we help with union labor negotiations. Fun.
Any idea, Dallas, let's just say over the last decade or so, about how much money's come into the city of Newberry in grants? Ballpark it.
In terms of contributions and grants, we've probably been over $20 million. Our upcoming items, we're continuing on the advanced meter and infrastructure project. Obviously, that'll have a very big impact in our customer service and billing departments. Our customer service and billing staff is all very excited about the AMI project. The audit started 2 weeks ago and will continue through March. We're continuing to work on the CDBG housing grant. We just received bids back for the first round of renovations for housing, and that'll be coming towards the commission in the next meeting. We're working on an employee engagement survey and the results of the engagement survey to build a happier, more engaged workforce. State of the City event is coming up in February. We have a picture of it last year, so we're doing preliminary event planning on that. We've rolled out a purchasing card system, which is intended to make the purchasing process a little easier, less cumbersome on staff, but also put some responsibility on them and give them an easier way to make purchases that still has all the accountability that the government would expect. We're rolling out the agenda management software. We're also trying to implement budget billing, so customers in our utility billing can set budget bills so their utility bill doesn't fluctuate as much as it typically does based off of usage. So customers can budget their bills a little better. And then a few short weeks, we will start the budget for fiscal year 2021. And that is my annual update.
Well done. Now, questions? Any questions? So now, I think this is a little bit what the commission was asking for with these. A lot heavy on the numbers. How many utility accounts did we open? You know, what have we achieved this last year? So, I think I would encourage future departments that are maybe watching this. This, I think, is in line with what Commissioner Martin has been asking for in terms of show us your numbers, your day-to-day over the course of a year. So thank you for that. We appreciate you.
If anybody can do numbers, it should be your accounting department.
We hope so. All right. And you're staying right there, which is good, because you will take us through the Building Strong Communities Award.
Yes, sir,
We should
Mr.
get this
Mayor.
award just about every year.
This is the 4th consecutive year that we've won the award. We're very excited about that. The award was presented to us by the Florida Municipal Electric Association at its annual conference earlier this month. We received the award, or the award is presented annually to utilities that enhance the quality of life in their communities through activities that address community needs and improve the area's social, cultural, educational, and economic environment. Some of the projects and things that we support that allowed us to win this award include our support of the Watermelon Festival, our support of the Westfest Festival, the electric department's hanging of holiday lights on Christmas, support of our local volunteer organizations through fee waivers and reductions and assistance in our utility processes, our support of charitable events such as Relay for Life, United Way, our food drive at Thanksgiving and our Christmas drive at Christmas, as well as sponsorship of the Energy Whiz Expo at the middle school, our My City event that we just had last week, as well as our assistance with customers' utility bills and our free do-it-yourself online energy audits and free in-home energy audits. So this is the award. All 4 of them are hanging up in customer service, so you can see them.
Awesome. Did you have any questions about the Building Better Communities Award? 4 years running. Will you turn around and show it to the...
Mr. Mayor, Dallas touched on it. This award comes from the Florida Municipal Electric Association, and it recognizes, so it's kind of tailored towards our electric department and our customer service department, but it's really for citywide efforts. It's intended to show the value of a city owning its own electric utility, the value to the community, and those are the types of programs and projects that they look at.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to see that every year. Well, hard on the heels of our finance and administration update, we have a proclamation declaring International Accounting Day. So it's my pleasure to read this into the record. Whereas the fiscal health and well-being of the city of Newberry's people, businesses, and institutions are critical to the continued vitality and prosperity of the city, and whereas accountants must maintain high standards of ethics, professionalism, and knowledge by maintaining and enhancing their skills through continuing professional education, and whereas accountants provide accounting and auditing services, management advisory services, and individual as well as corporate tax and financial planning advice, And whereas accountants draw upon their unique knowledge and experiences to provide sound, reliable financial counsel in order to protect and promote the growth of business, the soundness of government operations, the excellence of higher education, and the confidence of investors in the city of Newberry and throughout the United States of America. And whereas accountants deserve recognition for their hard work and the positive impact they have in communities and businesses throughout the city of Newberry. And whereas on November 10th, 1494, we're going back a little. Well done. Well done. I like it. 1494, the book titled Summa de Arithmetica, Geometria, Proportione et Proportionita. I nailed that. I think my Latin is wonderful. Everything about arithmetic, geometry, and proportion, I could translate that as well, was published in Venice, Italy by Luca Pacioli, who is now known as the father of accounting and a hero to students everywhere, which contained essays on double entry bookkeeping and provided a base for other works on mercantile accounting. And whereas International Accounting Day is celebrated all around the world every year to give recognition to accountants who do highly challenging and stressful job that very few people want to do. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Jordan H. Marlowe, Mayor of the City of Newberry, do hereby proclaim November 10th, 2019 be designated as International Accounting Day, and encourage the entire community to join hands in this celebration and recognition. I want math students everywhere to do some addition and subtraction on November 10th. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 28th day of October 29th. And this is attested, of course, by the clerk of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida. Be it self-proclaimed. Man.
It's not often
Dust
you
off
get
my
Italian in
Yeah.
City of Newberry Commission meetings. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dallas. Okay, we come to a moment of the meeting tonight where public announcements, if you have anything of the non-controversial type that you can get to us in 2 minutes. Now it's time, there's a point at the end of the meeting where you'll have a little bit longer time to speak if you have something a little bit more in depth you want to talk to us about. Welcome down. Come on, Commissioner.
Good evening. This is actually a question, Alina Lawson, resident, and I'm not sure whether this question could be answered tonight, but on Dallas's presentation, I noticed the technology portion of it, and I also realized that there have been several cities around the country where their servers have been hacked, and I think Lake City ended up paying like $500,000. There's a city, South Florida, paid like $750,000 because they didn't have access. So I'm curious as to what's the security surrounding our server. And I know we
Mr.
have
Manager,
a
can you-
contracted organization.
Can you
Mr.
answer that tonight off the top of your head?
Absolutely. Mr. Mayor, we do contract for those services. Our vendor and our staff team, led by Dallas, are very tuned in to that. We go through periodic testing to ensure that we are as safe as we can be. And I think recently we were tested by FMPA. Their team came in to see how confident they felt like we were to having that type of jeopardy to our system, and they gave us extremely high marks. Wasn't reported by Dallas, it was reported by former Mayor Conrad, who told me, wow, you guys really have your ducks in a row. You did a great job. You passed with flying colors. Anything else you want to add to it? I mean, without divulging any secrets where we would have to kill everybody before they left the room.
Yeah, actually, conversations about cybersecurity are now exempt from public meetings. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we recently, actually last Tuesday, did a more in-depth cybersecurity process check. We scored a 275 out of 300, which is pretty good. Most of our areas that we need to work on, we're just documenting some of the things we do. I'm not going to say it won't happen, but we're pretty confident. We do a lot of training on our city staff. We have bi-monthly training that everybody has to take. New employees have to take phishing and security awareness training. We also have insurance, so if something does happen, the city does have cyber protection liability insurance that covers us up to several $1 million, both to rebuild our networks as well as to pay for any credit reporting that would need to be paid for by anybody whose information was taken.
And Dallas, so no one watching this video gets the wrong impression. When you say we do phishing tests, can you expand on what you mean by that?
All of our employees, at least PH phishing, get fake emails every now and then to see if they we trick them, and if they click on them, as some people are known to do, they get sent to remedial phishing school.
All right, thank you. That fairly well answer your question there, Commissioner? Thank you for asking it. Any other announcements? You can absolutely, as long as it's under 2 minutes and public can benefit from it.
We have a SCORE workshop tomorrow in Newberry at the municipal building. It's a workshop on fix and flip. It's by a developer, and so she teaches these workshops. If you're interested in finding out how to fix and flip houses, which I know a lot of people are, it's at 6 o'clock. If you want to register ahead of time, go to northcentralfloridascore.org, and the class is up there. But you can walk in, and it's $15, and we'll give you some snacks, and it'll be a 1.5 hour class.
Will they teach me how to get the money that I need to buy the house to begin with?
For that, you have to come to my crowdfunding workshop.
Okay, all right.
There is going to be a
There's
crowdfunding
another
workshop. That's another workshop.
Another workshop, okay. I'll come to that one. Any other 2-minute announcements? All right, moving right along. Do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda as it has been published?
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, I have a motion to approve.
And, well, before the vote, I'd just like to make one brief comment. So you-
Okay, do I have a second to approve? I have a second to approve. Mr. Manager, you want to tell us a little bit about our PCA this month? It is noteworthy.
It is noteworthy, and to avoid confusion with any of our customers, this year our power cost adjustment is a negative value. So when you see that, we're multiplying a negative .02 times your kilowatt usage, and you will get a credit on that portion of your bill where it says fuel charge or power cost adjustment. That will be a credit that will reduce your overall bill somewhat. We've had low power cost most of the summer, lower than expected. And as you know, we try to, through our power cost adjustment, do a little bit of bill stabilization. And we're at that point in the summer where we've collected plenty to do that. And our bill stabilization this month is to give our customers a little bit back.
Awesome. We always like it when it's a negative, right? And with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And we are into a quasi-judicial. I'm going to remind the commission, we're going to read these quasi-judicial proceedings into the record. As long as nobody new enters the chamber, I'm not going to read them. Do we have 2 tonight? Yes. I'm not going to read them again into the record, but once we are into a quasi-judicial, we will sit as a judiciary board. And so we will follow this procedure to make sure we stay on track. So I'm going to read into the record. I'm just going to ask the attorney to read into the record of the ordinance, resolution by title and number, the applicant's name, in a second. And then we're going to explain the rules concerning that testimony. The primary rule is that all public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony will be limited to experts, and closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. Before we go through all the procedures of the presentations, may I ask you, Madam Clerk, to swear in. Did I have a second for the consent agenda? I had a motion from Commissioner Coleman. I had a second from Commissioner Farnsworth, and we voted. Okay, so I had a motion and a second. So Madam Clerk, will you please ask anyone here to speak to our first quasi-judicial to please stand? And if you're here to speak to both of them, if you could go ahead and stand. Now we'll swear you in all at one time. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And while the attorney is getting ready with the ordinance, do we have any ex parte that needs to be disclosed now, Commissioner Coleman?
Zero.
Commissioner Herson?
None.
Commissioner Farnsworth? None. Commissioner Martin? No. Commissioner Norfleet? None. And I do not have any as well. Mr. Attorney, will you go ahead and read the ordinance in, and then I'll go through the presentation order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number 2019-26 which is CPA 19-06, an ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending ordinance number 4-91 as amended relating to an amendment to the future land use plan map of the City of Newberry comprehensive plan of 10 or less acres of land under the small-scale development amendment procedures established under the small-scale amendment provisions of Section 163.3187 Florida statutes as amended, providing for a change in land use classification from Alachua County rural agriculture, less than or equal to 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres, to City of Newberry agriculture, less than or equal to 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres, on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion would be to pass the ordinance upon first reading of title only.
Okay, so the presentation, the order of the presentation that we'll go through, as we always do with quasi-judicials, is that staff is going to give us an overview. Then the applicant will have the opportunity with no time limit to make their presentation. Then the staff will come back and give us their presentation, also with no time limit. I have not been notified of any third-party interveners, so that will take us straight to public comment, after which the applicant may cross-examine, and then staff will also have the opportunity to cross-examine. At that point, members of the decision-making body will be able to ask questions of the applicant or of staff, and then a final argument can be offered by the applicant. Finally, the city attorney will advise the decision-making body as to the applicable law, and then you will have the chance to deliberate, and after deliberations, someone will make a motion, and we will go from there. Any questions about the presentation we'll follow here tonight? Hearing none, staff, will you please give us the overview?
Mayor, Commissioners, Wendy Kinzer, City of Newberry Planning and Economic Development Department. This application before you is for the comprehensive plan amendment. Oops, what did I do? Portion of this application. This is property that was recently annexed into the City of Newberry. It's currently houses the pet resort, small animal facility, boarding facility. It's about a third of a mile to the east of Northwest 202nd Street and west of Dudley Farm. And in that property, it's about 4.86 acres, and it's going through the plan amendment process, which is the next step after it's annexed. And then once you approve your land use, then you have to have zoning that's implementing that, and that's the next application that you hear. So I'll let the applicant go over anything he'd like to, and then I'll just finish the
That'd be fine.
presentation.
Yep. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Clay Swager. I'm a land planner with EDA, Engineers, Surveyors, and Planners. And here tonight, I don't have a very lengthy presentation as
That's
this
all right. Don't
request is
apologize for that.
fairly straightforward. So this is a request to amend the land use map for the City of Newberry to go from the county agriculture designation to the city agriculture designation. This property is the home of Pet Paradise Commercial Animal Boarding Facility, who has now joined the City of Newberry as this commission had voted to approve their annexation recently. So tonight you have a land use change application, and the following item is a zoning. And just to give you an idea where we are in the process, as I mentioned, the annexation has occurred. We would respectfully ask approval of the land use change and then the zoning, and then ultimately we would come back with a special exception, which is a site plan that comes, I believe, to here to the City Commission. You can see their proposal to expand their facility. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them tonight.
Does the board have any questions for Clay? No. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, staff.
This is the portion of the application changing the land use. As Clay said, the request is to go from the county agriculture designation, which is called rural agriculture, to the city's designation, which is agriculture. And this is the future land use. This property was recommended by the City of Newberry's Planning and Zoning Board for approval. The whole process, as we already discussed, is the annexation, then the comprehensive plan amendment, then your rezoning to implement that. And in this case, the comprehensive plan change is to the future land use map. changing the designation. And both the city and the county designations are the same type of density with 1 unit per 5 acres. And the recommendation, again, of the Planning and Zoning Board was for approval, and staff's recommendation is for approval of the ordinance on first reading.
Okay, does the board have any questions for staff? Commissioner Farnsworth?
When he mentioned expanding the facility, would that still, after the expansion, would it still fall into agriculture for zoning?
Yes, the application, whether it expands, that's going to be provided for through the special exception. Right now, they have, well, if you're jumping ahead to the zoning application, because when you're talking about the actual zoning that the county has, it makes it a little difficult for them to expand because they have ARB zoning and agriculture zoning, but we can talk about that under the zoning request. The land use itself does not limit them at all.
Does the board have any other questions for staff? Has the board thought of any other questions for the applicant? If not, would the applicant like to make a final argument?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Attorney, you want to advise the body as to the applicable law?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, since we're in quasi-judicial, the standard is substantial and competent evidence. We need to establish that there's been a record made that would allow us, if there's ever a challenge to this, to be able to present this to a court of law. So as long as the commission feels that that evidence has been put in the record, it's ripe for a decision.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we will close the quasi-judicial and enter into deliberations. Anybody have any final comments, or is the board ready to make a motion? Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Farnsworth.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Herson. And the motion followed the exact motion that the attorney read in. Any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? Hearing none. Does the public have any final questions or comments on the motion on the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. No one new has entered the room, correct? So we are going to go right into the same presentation, the same procedure. We've already sworn everybody in, correct? And we've already gone through all of the ex parte. So we're going to begin with attorney's reading of the ordinance on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number 2019-27, LDR 19-11. An ordinance of the City of Newberry, Florida relating to the amendment of the official zoning atlas for the rezoning of less than 5% of the total land area of the city pursuant to an application amending the official zoning atlas of the City of Newberry land development regulations, providing for rezoning from Alachua County Agricultural Rural Business A-RB/Agricultural A to City of Newberry Agricultural A on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, which have been annexed thereto, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion would be to pass the ordinance by reading of title only, first reading.
Thank you, sir. All right, staff, you want to give us that overview?
Mayor, Commissioners, Wendy Kinzer, City of Newberry. This application, again, same place, 4.86 acres. This is for the rezoning request that would bring it into compliance with the regulations that City of Newberry has. This is going from the agriculture designation and the ARB, agricultural rural business designation the county has. The closest thing to allow for the existing use, which is a small animal boarding facility, is the city's zoning in agriculture. And that provides for the ability to do a kennel or a small animal boarding facility through a special exception process. Your code was recently amended as well to provide for other types of small animal boarding facilities that would allow things to happen there that can't happen under the county's code, which when you were asking one of the commissioners about the ARB zoning and the agriculture zoning, how it works and whether they'd be able to expand under our code, under ours, through the special exception process, yes. The 4.86 acres that's designated for this request, when they go through that process with the site plan, there'll be conditions placed on that. There are conditions in your code already that outline those types of facilities, but you will be able to contemplate those and add any others that are warranted. Under the county's code, if they were to stay there, they have difficulty because the ARB district has limitations on the number of acres and doesn't provide for the actual use that they want to do because they'd have to, it just makes it, for the kennels, they have to have, I think, was it 4 acres?
300 feet.
For the ARB, it's the maximum size. But this works so they can expand on this location through our zoning regulations. So that's, the applicant can answer some more questions so that you won't be totally confused. And the planning and zoning recommendation is for approval, and the staff recommendation is for approval.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation? Can you speak to that question a little bit about why the applicant is coming in, is asking for this?
Sure, absolutely. Mayor and Commissioners, I'm Clay Swager with EDA again. This is a request to go from the county ARB, Agriculture Rural Business, and also their standard ag category to City of Newberry Agriculture. If the zoning is approved, this use is allowed as a special exception in agriculture zoning. It would require that to come back to the board and meet those criteria that the commission approved recently regarding buffers and setbacks, hours of operation, and things along those lines. So there's a, it's a managed, management of the use in the agricultural area, appropriately managed, I should say. Plus, the city commission would have the ability to add additional conditions if they see fit at that time. The county code allows this use also as a commercial animal boarding facility. However, there's a small caveat in the county code that says that agriculture rural business can only be on no more than 3 acres. It's been in that code for decades, and no one really knows why. I used to work at the county, and I could speak from that, but that was a limitation. They would like to do a relatively small expansion of this facility, but we need to go into the back 1.5 acres, 1.8 acres that they already own, and it's not zoned ARB. So the city's been very helpful in welcoming us in and working with us to establish the code that will bring this in. And that's really the background and what started the conversation, and everything was so positive with city staff to try to make this work. And so that's where we are.
Well, we're glad it worked out where they were coming in. Does that conclude your
Yes, sir.
report as well? All right. And Wendy, did you get the overview report and recommendation all in at one time? Excellent. I still have not been contacted by any third-party interveners, so we're going to go to the board. Did you have any questions for the applicant or for staff? Hearing none, does the applicant wish to make a final argument? Okay, thank you. Mr. Attorney, same advice you gave just a minute ago?
You got it.
Okay, we appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and close the quasi-judicial and enter into deliberations or entertain a motion if the board wills it. I have a motion from Commissioner Norfleet, a second from Commissioner Martin. Does the board have any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? Does the public have any questions or comments on the motion on the floor? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and that will take us out of our quasi-judicials. The next item is ordinance 2919-28. Mr. Attorney, will you go ahead and read that into the record for us, please?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 2019-28, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, amending Chapter 46 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Newberry to provide for tobacco sales regulations, notifying Alachua County, Florida, that pursuant to this ordinance, the City of Newberry has opted out of Chapter 65 and Chapter 67 of the Alachua County Code entitled Tobacco Minimum Legal Sales Age 21 Ordinance, declaring this ordinance to be in conflict with Chapter 65 and Chapter 67 of the Alachua County Code, providing severability, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, and providing an immediate effective date. The motion on the table would be to pass the ordinance by reading of title only. This is, again, first reading only.
Okay, do I have that motion? I have a motion from Commissioner Coleman.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Farmer. All right, discussion on the motion on the floor. This is the opt-out that you guys in theory voted for last time. Now you have the actual ordinance in front of you with the details. Any comments or questions? Commissioner Martin.
No, I just want to express my appreciation for including the items regarding home rule, freedom for individual choices with regards to this matter, as well as the economic impact. I think all those three things are very important. I'm glad they're highlighted in the ordinance.
I agree. Any other? I think we have a template here for that opt-out for other issues that we've been discussing as well. No more comments or questions from the dais? Does the public have any comments or questions on the opt-out ordinance in front of the commission? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. At the last meeting, staff presented, I think, 19 legislative items. And I think we were fairly well on the same page that we needed to reduce that to a list of no more than 5. And you each had a little bit of homework of narrowing that down. Does anyone want to take the lead on saying, can we get the 19 up there so we know what numbers the public can see the numbers that we're thinking about?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. So recommended motion, and
Let's begin with an offering, and we'll see how close to where everyone else is on that offering as we work through. Commissioner Martin, you want to?
I efforted to combine a couple items, particularly 1 and 2, 4 and 5, standalone on 6, combining 10 and 17, and then number 16. Number 1 and 2 were with regards to, I thought, a broader title of Efforts Down 26. Number 4 and 5, they both kind of addressed treatment of water, and although I did reserve on that, I felt like the state may do some of that stuff on its own anyway, so I don't know if we want to waste one of the 5 on that. And then number 6 was a standalone for the one-way payers. Number 10 and number 17, I thought both kind of shadowed each other with regards to home rule, self-governance, kind of flavoring. And then 16 was something to do with our capacity at the schools. I know that they're already cited everything for Parker Road at the development there, but the county or the state ultimately still has to approve the funding and approve the school itself. So again, it was combining 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 10 and 17, and then standalone 6 and 16, which were my 5. So that were my 5.
Okay. So, and when you say combine, you think that both of these things can be pushed kind of at the same conversation?
Yeah.
Even though they come from different
Yeah.
pots? Okay. Any other thoughts, Commissioner Coleman?
Mine was 1, 2, get ready, 3, 6, and 7.
Okay. So we have 2 in agreement for 1 and 2 and 6. So there's 2 votes for 3 of them. Commissioner Herson, was that a reach?
Sure,
Or is that-
I'll
okay.
follow on. I had 1 and 2. I appreciate Commissioner Martin's idea of combining those 2. I would defer to some expertise whether different pots indicate 2 different asks or not. I think that could be a point of discussion. So 1 and 2, 6 and 7 were, I guess, the top 4 that I saw.
Okay, so we've got a majority right now for 1, 2, and 6. 1, 2, and 6. Either Commissioner Farnsworth or Norfleet want to object strongly to those 3, and then we'll figure out you're good with those 3. So I'm not sure how well the public is able to follow this. We're trying to limit staff's focus and attention when they go to Tallahassee on what their asks are. Right now, we have a majority consent to 1, support Newberry, Florida's job growth grant fund application for the Newberry Ag Tech Innovation Park and for the wastewater utility extension running down Newberry Road that Commissioner Barden has appropriately said is sort of both of those projects. Certainly the wastewater could be additional projects. Once you have wastewater and water, now anything commercial can go there. So those two have the support of the commission. 6 is funding for construction phase of Newberry, Florida's Transportation 26 modification, which is the two-way pairs. So we're asking for that to get put on. So we have 1, 2, and 3, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, and 6, and then we kind of diverge at that point. So I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with keeping it focused to 3 or 4. I just don't want to go over 5. So do we want to leave it at 3 and so go get those 3? Do we want to work and see if we can come to consensus on one more? Commissioner Farnsworth.
You don't have that much time.
Yeah, what, maybe we could all say our next 2, and then, we agree on one of them or both of them, then.
Okay. Well, I've got Commissioner Coleman's, Hersum's, and Martin's top 5. Right? Does anyone want to, which was, anybody want to go for 4?
Yes,
You like 4?
yes.
Okay, I got another 4. 4 is the nutrient loading on the aquifer, which I think we got a really high chance of getting that one, and it's a different pot.
And the other one's 14.
You like 4 and 14. Let's deal with 4 first. Anybody want to say 4 was one of Martin's as well? He just saw we can maybe lump it together there. I think 4 and 5 are different projects, so they're different concepts. We almost have to pick one of those and go with it. 5 we have hit a dead wall on. We've been trying for that one. 4 I think we are hot to trot on. So can I get a head nod for 4? Okay, so we're going to put 4. So we have 1, 2, 4, and 6. And Commissioner Farnsworth liked 14, which I think is a cool project. That's the restoring the city's historic electric generating station. Over there, I have no idea how successful we'd be at it, but it's something we've kicked around for a while. We also have, Martin had 10 and 17, which, did you put those two together?
I did.
You did, right? So 10 to 17. Anybody like 10, 14? I want to throw, or should we just call it quits and say go focus on those 4?
Would 6 and 7 be the same thing?
I don't. Mike, you want
Mr.
to
Mayor,
answer
the project number 7 is funded through a program that FDOT runs called TAPS, Transportation Alternatives. It's a separate application process, and we've been in the queue for a number of years. Some years we move up, some years we stay put, but we are submitting our applications. The real push is that we'll continue to fund transportation alternatives. If they do, we'll continue to move up the list. But it is generally unrelated to the State Road 26 Twin Pairs project. We're going to get all new sidewalks and streetlights on those segments. It's the rest of the segments that this act, that we're in the queue for, maybe 4 or 5 years out, we need funding support for.
We did have 2 votes for 7. Anybody else want to go after sidewalk, street lighting down State Road 26? I mean, to me, 7 is kind of in line anyway with 1 and 2. It's sort of a whole broader picture. So you're focusing on 3 things in that broader vision. Or I fall back on, in my conversations with state legislators, the shorter, sweeter, more focused, and so just go with the 4 that you have. If they bring up 7, say, yeah, we'd love that too, but we want, first thing we need the wastewater.
I'm fine with the 4.
Fine with the 4? Fine with the 4?
All right.
I got a head nod. You have
Mr.
your
Mayor, I want
direction?
to make sure I have 1, 2, 4, and 6.
1, 2, 4, and 6.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. And Mike, you're going to take us through the commission meeting schedule.
Yeah, Mr.
I'm
Mayor.
sorry, public comment on legislative agenda items? Thank you. Keeping me straight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Joy Lancer. I just wondered what impact, if any, does number 8 have to maintaining a status as a rated community? Do we get brownie points for being one of those, or by being out of the Alachua County, being a not rural community, do we get any benefit from that?
Mr. Mayor, if we can obtain the designation, and we did 3 years ago through the legislature, it does benefit us in grant applications and things of the like. But I would tell you that staff, the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity staff, which is who has a law that says how you get that status, they've done gymnastics to get us there. It's going to take an act of the legislature to get that designation again. We do not qualify, and we're going the wrong way from it. We're not getting closer to becoming a ready community. We're getting further away, which is good in some regards.
Let's make sure people understand the ready is we have grown past, the way I perceive, we've grown past that designate. We've been so successful that we no longer qualify for this rural economic development program. I just want to make sure that.
Yes, sir. It's geared
not that we're
towards
going backwards.
more impoverished communities. And our financial numbers become so strong that it's hard. As soon as the 2020 census is done, I think that our chances of even having the conversation are going to not merit a lot of consideration from the state.
Okay, any other public comment on the commission's directive to staff to go focus on these 4 things? Okay, hearing none. All right, now Mike, take us through the commission meeting schedule.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we always save the most complex issues for last because we like to catch the commission when they're tired and they're brain tired. Now, and actually at our workshop, we pretty much considered this. Our first meeting in November conflicts with Veterans Day, which is Monday the 11th. I believe at the last workshop, the commission gave us a nod that they would prefer to move it to Tuesday the 12th. We wanted to formally adopt that in a public meeting, just get that motion made and get the commission to approve it if they're still in agreement that that's the way they'd like to handle that meeting.
I think I have a motion to move November 11th meeting to November 12th, same time, 7 p.m., same location, City Hall.
Motion to move the first November meeting to November 12th.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Hersom. I have a second from Commissioner Norfleet. Does the commission have any questions about the change? Does the public have any questions about the change? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passed unanimously.
And just one addition to that note, the meeting on Monday the 25th, the last read I got from Dallas was we told you that it would be a must-have if we needed to amend our budget. I believe Dallas indicated to me that we are going to amend our final budget. State law requires us to adopt that final budget within 60 days. So staff believes that that meeting, however brief it may be, will need to happen.
Okay, and it should have to happen because of the charter as well, right? In order to stay on our timeline.
I think we're doing the charter on the meeting that's going to move to the 12th. That's when you asked for that.
Okay, the mid-charter.
Charter's on the 12th, but budget amendment for last fiscal year is on the 25th.
Okay. And is that amendment because the property appraiser's overage came in and we will be receiving that 140?
Very likely we'll have that amendment as well, but that's for the current fiscal year. I'm talking about the fiscal year we're closing out.
Okay.
The state law requires us to make our final amendment within 60 days, and that will be the last opportunity for us to do it, lest we call an emergency or a special meeting.
All right. Okay. But we don't need to take any action on the 25th. That's just a notice that
Just
the
as
November 25th
FYI.
meeting will happen as planned. Okay. All right. And that brings us to comments. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, I have just a few brief comments. I guess an update on Alachua County's project to develop or renovate the Agricultural and Equestrian Center. The county staff indicated to me today that they believe that next June they're going to go into construction, and that's a kind of a two-pronged approach. They're going to be renovating the existing 38-acre Canterbury site for their equestrian facilities. And they will also start work on the county extension offices. The equestrian center looks like it's about a 6-month project, so somewhere around January of 2021, they should be through, and there should be a ribbon cutting ceremony where we can all celebrate our new digs here in Newberry, or their new digs in Newberry. And then later that year in October or so, which would be about 15 months after construction began, the county extension offices and the new conference center should be complete around that time frame. So just wanted to update the commission and the community on that. Mr. Mayor, a couple of other items. On November the 7th at 3 p.m., and we will be sending elected officials a calendar invite. We'll be celebrating Arbor Day with the planting of a tree. We do this annually. This year we're planting a nicer tree than we have been in the past. It's out at Easton Newberry Sports Complex. We generally will have all the children that are involved in the after-school program out there. We'll have some treats, and I think they're having some giveaway pine trees for them as well.
And you've got Commissioner Coleman scheduled to show with boots on to dig the hole?
He volunteered to do the digging, and so staff went out and picked the rockiest part of the site. I'm pretty sure you're going to need to bring a pickaxe for that.
Well, Amy, will you send out a calendar invite for that to remind us? November 7th?
Correct.
At Easton.
3 p.m. at Easton.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I sent an email, just a reminder that the Florida League of Cities provides training for elected officials through their Institute of Elected Municipal Officials, which we shorten to EMO. There's advanced training in April, and there's level 3 training in March. If any of our elected officials are interested in attending those sessions, they're always on a Friday, Saturday. Please let us know. We'll get you booked into there. And finally, Mr. Mayor, in the same email, I spoke about the upcoming Florida legislative session. That legislative session begins on January the 12th, and it runs 60 days through March. I guess that's 60-plus days through March the 13th. It's in Tallahassee, of course. We generally attend or we visit Tallahassee 2 to 3 times minimum to meet with our legislatures and try to make sure that our projects and the things that you've asked for on our legislative agenda are on the forefront and are making their way through committees. But the week of February the 10th, which is a Monday, 2 organizations that we're members of are having legislative action days. That's FMEA and the Florida League of Cities, a Monday through Wednesday. If any elected officials are interested in attending, let us know. We've already got a block of hotel rooms. Love to have you there advocating. I see eyes glaze over when staff walks in and says, hey, this is what we're asking for, and I see people sit up and lean in when elected officials are making those asks and sharing their concerns about our community. So I'd like to invite you all, as long as we don't discuss things that are on the agenda. There's no public sunshine violation, and love to have you in Tallahassee advocating for Newberry this year. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to introduce Andre Ravaz, who's in the back of the room, who's a visitor tonight. He's a second-year law student at UF, and he's part of a mentorship program where some of the law students do rotations, getting various experiences with different areas of law, working with different attorneys in town. So we brought him to tonight's meeting, and we're glad to have him here, and I just want to introduce him to everybody.
All right. Welcome. How long will you be here with us?
Just for tonight, this meeting.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I meant with Foles Walker and Malby.
We'll take him to
One
maybe
semester?
another, well, it's not even that, actually. We'll take him to a couple more meetings, and then he's going to move on elsewhere.
All right. Well, good luck to you in your travels. Welcome to join us tonight. All right. And Madam Clerk?
I don't have anything, thank you, but are you going to speak of the...
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you want to, it's, okay.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Coleman?
One thing, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Newberry plays in their first regional game for the volleyball team.
Against Williston?
Against Williston. I wish everybody would be there.
Yes. At Newberry
At
High?
Newberry, as long as we keep winning, we keep hosting.
Yeah.
And those girls are good.
This one's gonna be a good one. If you went to the district, no, it was a district. It
Yeah, we
was-
won the district.
District was kind of a,
Yeah.
this one's gonna be a nail biter. So come on out, support them, yell loud, all that kind of stuff. 7 o'clock, Newberry High Auditorium.
You got it.
All right. I'm sorry, not auditorium, gym. Everybody walk in and look, sit down. Commissioner Herschel.
I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner Farnsworth. Commissioner Martin. Commissioner Norfleet. Just a reminder, I'm sure you've all already turned in your evaluations to Ms. Amy. Hopefully, if you haven't, make sure you get those to her quickly. That'll be on the next agenda item. Commissioner Coleman already went over the volleyball. I want to give my gratitude to our clerk, Ms. Judy, and all the staff that showed up to do the My City. I'm part of it. I'm proud of it. Every year, it gets a little bit nicer. We get a few more things out there for the kids to do. We hone it down, and this year, it's third year, fourth year doing this? Third year. It was phenomenal. So the weather was great. The kids came out. They had a great time climbing all over the fire truck and the utility truck. So it really was a lot of fun just sitting there talking with them, sharing a little bit. I know that's a lot of work for you guys to do, but we appreciate you taking the time. I think the kids certainly enjoy it. Every year they ask about it, so I hope it's a tradition that keeps on going. It gives them a little glimpse into what they do, and every kid is 100% on a swimming pool. So every kid in the city of Newberry would like a swimming pool. Just put that in the back of your mind. And of course, this Thursday is Halloween. So Newberry celebrates Halloween. At Halloween, we certainly hope that everybody is safe and has an enjoyable holiday. And we would remind you that golf cart laws are certainly in effect on Halloween as they are the rest of the year. So have a great time, be safe, and always follow the law. And with that, we'll open it up to public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Joy Glanzer with the Main Street Organization, and we had been asked to give some updates on what we're doing, and there's a lot going on with Main Street, so I'm pleased to tell you. First, I wanted to thank the Water Dome Festival and the Newberry Garden Club for helping us, collaborating with us to make all the pretty decorations in downtown Newberry. We have some good comments
They're
about
awesome.
that, and it was
They are.
a good effort by a lot of people. Tomorrow, children of all ages are invited to the farmer's market. We're going to have candy giveaway for anybody who wants it. We're going to have trick or treat for adults. So please come from 4 to 7 at the City Park downtown tomorrow. I want to give a great big thank you to
4 to 8 or 4 to 7? 4 to 8.
Hours.
Yes.
And thanks to the City of Newberry, I hear a little bird told me that we're going to have a light pole in the City Park. That told me I shouldn't say that. Anyway, so we can stay open later and have light downtown. I want to give a great big thank you to Sound Heating and Air. They stepped forward and gave us a $10,000 corporate sponsor. So you're going to see a lot of good things happening next year with Main Street, and we're thankful for that. Along with a lot of members, a lot of community that stepped up and became members and all that. So we're happy for that. We're planning a tree lighting celebration on December 2nd in coordination with the City of Newberry. It'll be from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. We're going to have caroling, cocoa, Santa, and all kind of exciting things. December 6th from 6 to 7. And then directly following that, across the street at the Art Gallery, this is even more exciting. We're going to have the winner announced of the art contest for the 125th anniversary celebration.
I can't wait. When will we have the contestants visible? When will?
I will check with that coordinating group. I know there's been some interest, and we put the flyer back out on the art, maybe I can remember for that. But, and actually, we had a couple of volunteers this week come in, and we had the gallery all painted up, and all the nail holes filled, and it looks really nice in there.
So will the public see all of the contestants? They'll see all of them.
And
Okay.
even after it's announced, they'll be up there for display for, I think, till February. So-
Because I know that we residents may disagree with who wins, but may want to purchase
Exactly.
the one. And I've been approached, the Sycamore Lane new business that just opened up is interested in potentially working with those folks to make prints. I'm not sure if the art gallery is going to do that anymore, but If they are not, he's expressed an interest in doing that in his business. So just to let you know, but I know that a lot of folks are excited about seeing them and seeing that iconic Newberry image. Yeah, that will be. And that all happens on December 6th. So we would go right across the street.
That's right. 6
And-
people light the tree and have celebration and walk across the street.
All right.
See who they are. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Is that it?
That's it. Well, there's lots more, but I'll leave.
Of course, of course. Other public, come on now.
My name is Mr. Watson, I'm a citizen, you all know me. I have to make an announcement. You have a new assistant coach at Newberry, basketball. That's my son.
Wonderful. We're glad he stepped in, yes.
So we're looking forward to it, and hopefully they'll be good this year.
Yeah.
The guards and the point guards from the forwards this year.
Yeah. Love it. Well, good luck to him and tell him we appreciate him stepping in. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we are adjourned.